The man at the defence table looks relaxed. Too relaxed. Shoulders back, hands still. A faint smile. 33-year-old Jessie Dotson sits inside a courtroom in Memphis. 6 members of his family are dead. 3 of them were children. 1 of them lived only 2 months. Prosecutors are preparing to ask for death. Dotson doesn't react. No shaking. No panic. Because his story sounds simple, he says he was inside the house, but not part of it, hidden under a bed, listening, while someone else moved through the rooms. Gunshots, silence, footsteps leaving. For several days, detectives treated him like a survivor, a witness. Then a hospital room changed everything. A 9-year-old boy finally woke up. The child had been found in a bathtub, barely breathing, a knife blade lodged in his skull. Doctors kept him alive. Detectives asked one question, just one.
Attack.
Who did this to you? Junior. Uncle Junior.
And the calm man sitting in that courtroom stopped being a witness and became the centre of the case. At this stage of the trial, Jessie Dotson believes the case against him is weak. From his perspective, the evidence simply doesn't hold. Investigators searched the house, tested the rooms, collected what they could, but the results weren't what prosecutors hoped for. There was no confirmed DNA match tying Dotson to the killings. Several fingerprints were recovered. None could be definitively identified as his. And then there was something else, a single strand of hair, found inside the home. Lab analysis confirmed one thing with certainty. It did not belong to Jessie Dotson. Think about that for a moment. 6 victims, a brutal crime scene, and the physical evidence points somewhere else. Inside the courtroom, the defence notices it too. Their strategy begins to take shape. If the forensics can't place Dotson there, then reasonable doubt starts to grow. Quietly, slowly. But prosecutors aren't building this case on laboratory results alone, because behind the scenes they're preparing something far more powerful. Not a test, not a fingerprint, a witness. And not just any witness, a survivor. The only person who walked out of that house alive, 9 years old. When that boy finally enters the courtroom, everything changes. Because the entire case is about to pivot on one moment. One question and one answer. The kind that can destroy a defence in seconds. So the real question becomes, what exactly did that child see? The address is 722 Leicester Street in Memphis. Small house, quiet block. The kind of place where neighbours recognise each other's cars. Inside that house lived a family. Not statistics, people. Jessie Dotson's older brother, Cecil Dotson, lived there. So did Cecil's girlfriend, Marissa Williams. 3 young boys filled the hallway with noise. 9-year-old C.J. Dotson, 4-year-old Samario, 2-year-old Cecil II, and then there was the baby, 2 months old, Senia. Remember that name? Because every single life inside that house mattered. This wasn't a place known for violence. It was a normal family home. Television running in the background, basketball games on the screen, card games at the kitchen table, kids racing down the hallway when they were supposed to be asleep. Ordinary moments, the kind families don't think twice about. But there was one person who came and went from that house, someone the children already knew, someone they trusted, their uncle. Everyone called him Uncle Junior. That was Jessie Dotson, the same man now sitting calmly in a Memphis courtroom. Look at that contrast for a second. To those children, he wasn't a suspect. He wasn't a stranger. He was family. Which is why the next part of this story becomes difficult to understand. Because prosecutors say the last familiar face those children saw that night was the one person they never believed could hurt them. Their uncle, the man those children trusted, the man sitting calmly in court. And investigators are about to ask the one question that destroys his story. What exactly happened inside that house? January 29th, 2008. A card game. Living room. Laughter, maybe. Then tension. Dotson reaches into his pocket. A gun, pulled on his own brother, over a leather coat. Small thing, but dangerous. Police are called. Officer notes taken. Report filed. Nothing more. 3 days earlier, Dotson's parole ended. 14 years for a second-degree murder. And suddenly, no supervision, no monitoring, no one stopping him, no consequences. The family tries to shrug it off.
In the
Dinner
worst
continues.
mass murder in Memphis
TV
history,
stays on.
Jessie Dotson,
Card
the man
games
at the center of the
restart.
infamous Leicester Street
investigators
killings in
will later mark
Binghamton,
that night.
is now asking a
Not as an
judge to
argument,
reverse his
not as a
convictions.
coincidence. They call it a
Dotson was
warning.
sentenced to death
A
for the
warning
2008
nobody
killing of
noticed
6 people,
until it
including
was
his
too
brother
late.
and 2 young
Remember
nephews.
this moment. The first
He's
spark.
filed a
The first
249-page
step down a
petition
path
claiming
no one
he
could
falsely
stop.
confessed to the
March
murders
2nd,
because of threats
2008.
and pressure to
Early
solve the
morning.
case was enormous
Dim light through
because
the
of the
windows.
involvement of the TV show
Inside
The First
722
48
Leicester
pressured
Street.
Memphis
The
police
house
to
is
make a
quiet.
conviction.
Too quiet.
The petition claims
Investigators
Dotson's
later piece it
innocence,
together.
and there was no DNA
Dotson
evidence
enters.
connecting him.
What happens next
It also
takes
says
minutes.
the 11-year-old
6 people are dead.
survivor in the massacre,
2 children.
identified as his
3
nephew,
more are attacked.
was on a mixture of
1 child,
mind-altering
CJ,
medications, and his
ends up
memory
in a
was
hospital
not
bed.
reliable.
A knife
The
still lodged in
document
his
claims
skull.
the murders were
Surgeons
committed
later
as a
removed
result
it.
of gang
He
violence
survived.
retaliation
Another child
after
seriously
Dotson's brother
injured,
Cecil
broken,
had crossed
bleeding,
multiple
scared,
members of his
and
own
the
gang.
infant,
Jessie
Samuel,
Dotson
2
versus State
months
of
old,
Tennessee.
Last year,
unharmed,
Dotson's
sleeping.
lawyers went
Nobody
before the
touches
Tennessee
her.
Supreme Court
The
to
unimaginable
argue
is
they had
over.
an issue with an
But
earlier
something else
decision
begins.
denying him
The killer
funding for
doesn't
mental
flee.
health
Not right
evaluation.
away.
In my experience in
Instead,
capital cases, this was
manipulation. Drugs
unheard
placed
of
on the
when
body.
we were denied
Shell
expert
casings
assistance.
collected
He has
from the
no
floor.
constitutional right
Bodies moved.
to
Scene stacked,
expert assistance
made
in
to
a
look like
post-conviction
gang
proceeding.
attack. Then, the killer leaves. On a child's bicycle. Yes, a bicycle. Remember that. It matters because this is calculated, every move, and for 5 days Dotson is treated by police as a witness, protected, safe, free to sit, quiet, until the boy opens his eyes. Who survived? Who named him? Pay attention. For nearly 40 hours. Nobody enters the house. 6 people lie dead. 3 children survive, but no one knows. Until a phone rings. A neighbour calls. A welfare check. Officer Randall Davis drives down Leicester Street. Sunday evening. Quiet neighbourhood. Nothing looks out of place. The house seems normal. The front yard untouched. Doors closed. Windows dark. But when the officer steps inside, everything changes. Bodies in the living room. Blood on the floors. Shattered furniture. Then the bathroom. A child. Alive. 9 years old. C.J. Dotson. A knife blade still lodged in his skull, hospital-bound, but awake. Remember this. This is the first moment anyone knew what had actually happened. And it was the only reason the youngest child survived. Police start door-to-door questioning. Family members, neighbours, anyone who might know something. And then they sit across from Jessie Dotson. He doesn't run. He doesn't panic. No shaking hands. No pleading, no sudden explanations. Instead, he talks. He answers questions. Calm, controlled, almost too calm. He claims he was in the house, but not part of the attack. He says he hid under a bed, silent, terrified, watching, waiting, for 5 days. Police accept that story. Dotson is treated as a witness, not a suspect, placed in protective custody. Meals brought, a cot, quiet observation. He moves freely through questioning, explains what he saw in detail, claims he feared for his life, claims he said nothing to protect himself. But detectives know something is missing. One witness, the child in the hospital, the one with the knife still lodged in his skull. They wait. Every hour that boy stays unconscious, Dotson's story holds, and every hour that passes, the tension grows. Because when that child opens his eyes, everything Dotson said could fall apart. Remember this, the boy is the key, and Dotson doesn't know yet. March 7th, 5 days after the murders, CJ wakes up in the hospital, bruised, confused, in pain, Detectives bend down. One question: who hurt you? The answer comes fast, clear. Uncle Junior. Silence. Everything pivots instantly.
I walked in there. I seen him holding a gun, a revolver. I know what it was. And he was shooting my dad in the face.
Jessie Dotson's nephew, CJ Dotson, was there. He was only 9 years old at the time.
I was his first child victim he started on. Before he went to my brothers and them, he started on me first. So when I looked him in his face, I told him I loved him. He had his pocket knife like this in his hand and was looking at me with, a little tear in his eye, but he had the little evil look on. And he sliced me across the throat.
He says he tried to call 911, but dropped the phone when he saw his uncle.
Stand right there in the doorway. I had the phone, I dropped the phone. I was acting like I was looking for something. And I was like, I need to go to the restroom. I was trying to go to the restroom. He let me go to the restroom. As soon as I was about to whip it out and use the restroom, he stuck me in the head with a butcher knife. And I was playing with it, and I fell in the tub and I was playing with it because I was trying to pull it out, but it wouldn't budge.
The man who smiled in court, the man treated like a witness. He is now the only suspect. Police move quickly. They confront him. The interrogation begins. Dotson speaks. He gives an oral admission. Later, he will recant. But the damage is done. The pivot has occurred. The trial is no longer a possibility. It's inevitable. Remember this moment, because it's the first time truth cuts through the calm. The trial begins. The courtroom feels heavier than usual. Sunlight glints off polished wood. People shift in their seats. Whispers travel. Every camera focused. Every eye on Jessie Dotson. The defence opens. No DNA, they say. Hair samples unknown. Fingerprints unidentified. They hint at gang retaliation, possible rivals. They attack the timeline, the investigation, even the interrogation. Methods: flawed, rushed, biased. Short sentences, pauses, deliberate. Dotson remains calm, too calm. Hands folded, eyes scanning, almost casual. Then the prosecutors rise. The first weapon they display, not a gun, not a print, a person. Pamela Dotson, Dotson's mother. She walks to the stand. Her voice shakes, but only slightly, enough to feel human, enough to register fear. My son told me exactly what he did, she says. He explained every detail. She recounts it carefully. He entered the house that night, planned it in advance, moved room by room, every victim, every child, step by step. He said he wanted no one to survive. I had to finish what started years ago, he told her. She pauses, a deep breath, then adds, he said he felt justified, angry, targeted. It wasn't random, it was calculated. Murmurs ripple through the courtroom. Defense lawyers exchange uneasy glances. Dotson doesn't flinch. Prosecutors signal. The second witness steps forward. CJ. Dotson, 9 years old, small but focused. He walks to the stand slowly. Every step echoes. The judge leans in, quiet, then waits. The jury holds their breath. Detectives ask the question, who hurt you? The child answers immediately, Uncle Junior. The room reacts instantly. Gasps, murmurs. A courtroom held hostage by a single name. Dotson freezes, his face neutral, hands tighten just slightly. Prosecutors push forward. CJ describes what he remembers. Details Dotson couldn't have known if he weren't the killer. How the attacker moved through the house. Which rooms were targeted first. How the knives were handled. Even small things. The way the back door clicked. The jury leans forward. Some blink rapidly. Others grip the edges of their chairs. Dotson's mother testifies again. She recounts what he said about the planning, the sequence of rooms, the weapons, even the logic he gave. The defense scrambles. They try to frame it as imagination, confusion. A traumatized child's mistakes, but the prosecutors anticipate every argument. Camera pans to Dotson, every micro-expression captured, a flicker of panic in his eye, a small shift of his body, almost imperceptible, but enough. Prosecutors pause. let it linger. Allow the jury to witness the silent guilt. The child's testimony is the Chekhov's gun planted months ago. Activated perfectly. The segment closes with the lingering question, can the defence spin this? Or has the case already pivoted beyond repair? Every heartbeat in the courtroom matches the tension, and one thought stays with every viewer. Justice isn't just coming, it's already standing right there. The jury deliberates. Hours pass, minutes feel like days. 6 counts of murder, 3 attempted murders. Each vote counts, each decision heavier than the last. Then the verdict. Guilty, short, sharp, no hesitation. The words hit like a punch. A mother weeps. A father clenches his hands. Jessie Dotson looks away, small, fists tight. But something strange happens. During the lunch break, Dotson leaves, not handcuffed, not escorted, just him. In civilian clothes, almost casual. The courtroom empties slightly, the tension doesn't, and when he returns, it's a subtle shock. He's wearing a jail jumpsuit. The judge notices, pauses, then speaks to the jury. Mr. Dotson has chosen to change into his jail clothes. A silence fills the room, complete. No whisper, no rustle of papers, only the weight of that visual. No words needed. It's an admission. The jury absorbs it. They exchange glances, nods, then the recommendation. Death, 6 times, each one for a life taken. The courtroom exhales collectively, some faces frozen, some tear-streaked, some relieved. But the tension isn't gone. Not yet. Because even after the verdict, one question hangs. Could the killer's calm ever be broken? And even now, you feel it. The silence, the weight, the collapse of a man who thought he was untouchable. Judge James Beasley. Junior reads the sentences. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 death penalties. Each word echoes through the courtroom. Each one lands like a hammer. Dotson stands motionless, head held high, eyes forward, no apology, no flinch, no tear. The families watch. Some cry quietly, some stare in disbelief, some lean back, trying to breathe. The judge pauses between names, the gavel waits, and then, finality. Dotson is led away. Riverbend Maximum Security Institution. Death row, 6 lives lost. 1 man left to face it all. Outside the courtroom. The city whispers about what happened inside, the shock, the silence, and the question no one can shake. How could someone look so calm after destroying an entire family, even today? One detail remains. Investigators found hair, clutched tightly in the hand of one victim, hair believed to belong to the attacker. But here's the thing. According to defense filings, it was never tested. Dotson still maintains his innocence. Appeals drag on. Years pass, and the boy who survived, Jessie Dotson. He's an adult now. He still remembers the moment, looking up at his uncle's face, the man who destroyed his family, the child voice trembling. I told him I loved him. No child should ever say that. A jury believed the child. 6 death sentences were handed down. But that hair, it sits in a file. Untested, silent, a question mark hovering over everything. What would it reveal if someone finally looked? And now, if you
Maximum
stayed
security
with this story,
prison in
if you
Nashville,
felt the shock,
hoping his
the
conviction
heartbreak,
and sentence
the
will be
tension.
reversed.
Do this.
Alex Coleman,
Subscribe to the
WREG
channel to follow
TV,
every
News
twist
Channel
of real
3.
cases like this. Comment below. What do you think that hair would reveal? Like if you were shocked by this story. Share to keep the conversation alive. And remember, every detail matters. Every moment counts. Some answers might still be out there.